white clock. I can't stop. Fuck around, make my 40 pop.
Alright guys, the Boruto series has been on literal fire. Like, it's been a whole bunch of news about the Boruto series. Kodachi stepping down, Masashi Kishimoto taking control, the Out arc starting up, and not only that, there's also been spoilers about the Boruto manga. If I'm doing my job right, you guys are gonna probably get a lot more videos from me in the next couple of days. But regardless, this right here was literally series altering news. I didn't necessarily want to jump and make a video about it mainly because we didn't really get to know all the information and the details behind it. But the overall premise of this is going to be Masashi Kishimoto, the original writer of the Naruto series, finally taking back over for the series of Boruto. One of the main writers for the Boruto storyline was of course Ukyo Kodachi. At first he drew heavy criticism. Chapters 1 through 16 was not good at all. Like, people just did not like it. Was rehashing the Boruto movie, and of course it was a little bit about the Mujino arc, but people didn't really like the Mujino arc until of course we got to see Boruto's curse mark. But after chapter 16, everything took a turn. Ukyo Kodachi, he has been writing some absolute amazing stuff, like literally legendary stuff. I mean, his pen was flames and his ink was lava. It was that good. Like, it was that good. When we talk about Kashin Koji, Naruto's new form, the Kado organization, him explaining a lot of the major plot points of the Otsutsuki clan, the major plot points of the God Tree, and all the other stuff like that. It was just absolutely legendary stuff, in my opinion. So of course, Masashi Kishimoto taking over was definitely a very big surprise for a lot of people out there. Now, the Boruto team, they're basically telling us that this was pre-planned. Like, it was already planned that Masashi Kishimoto was actually going to take over. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I don't really buy that at all. I 100% definitely would not be surprised if they did actually pre-plan that Masashi Kishimoto would actually take over. But at this particular point, I don't know. Kodachi right now is penning the most important arc in the Boruto series. If he were to just stop the whole series just right now, just give the whole series over to Masashi Kishimoto, there could potentially be some very huge ramifications. And of course, I have no doubt that Masashi Kishimoto was paying close attention to the Boruto series, but it still seems a little bit iffy. Now, what Organic Dinosaur was saying, and of course, Organic Dinosaur being one of the more credible people in the Boruto community, she basically said that Ukyo Kodachi is kind of in some sort of controversy over in Japan. Now, we don't know exactly what it is. This right here could have possibly contributed to Ukyo Kodachi actually stepping down and Masashi Kishimoto take over for him. And not only that, of course, a lot of people are making fun and a lot of people are making jokes about how Masashi Kishimoto didn't necessarily want Naruto to be killed. And of course, from what we were seeing in the past couple of chapters, it very much looks like Naruto was actually on the way to losing his life. One of the biggest plot points to this off-screen arc, quote unquote, is the fact that Masashi Kishimoto is actually going to be penning chapter 52. Now, usually if we get news like this, we would probably get like a 2 to 3 month heads up, and that right there is also another reason why I think that this right here could possibly be a little bit fishy. Now, my overall thoughts on the switch. First things first, I'm really happy for Masashi Kishimoto. At first, when we found out that Masashi Kishimoto was not going to be writing the storyboard for Boruto, a lot of people were extremely pissed. But of course, Masashi Kishimoto did actually deserve a rest. So for him to actually come back and take command of the Boruto series, it makes you feel extremely happy for Masashi Kishimoto. And especially coming off of taking a quote unquote L with the new manga that he tried to start, which is Samurai 8. Now, some of the good things that I think could possibly come from this. The first things first is being the fact that Kodachi himself, he was really adamant about Boruto being a monthly manga. Now, don't get me wrong, that wasn't necessarily a bad thing, mainly because every single month around the 20th, we understood that right there was going to be the day that Boruto actually came out. It was literally like a holiday when the Boruto chapters did come out. But of course, to change over to Masashi Kishimoto, is definitely possible that Boruto can potentially be a weekly manga from now on. Now, I'm not necessarily going to say that this change is going to happen this week or something like that. I think that if a change like that did actually happen, it would probably be months to almost like a year away from right now. But still, now there is that added possibility of Boruto turning into a weekly or bi-weekly manga as of right now, which is possibly 4 or 2 times per month we will get a new chapter of the Boruto manga. And even when we talk about Masashi Kishimoto's new manga that he did make, which was Samurai 8, that right there was also a weekly manga as well. So I'm pretty sure he would definitely have no problems switching Boruto to a weekly anime. Now, another thing is, under Kodachi, he didn't really waste a lot of time with like emotional stuff. He didn't really waste a lot of time with just dialogue or just random dialogue. That stuff Masashi Kishimoto actually did. You got a lot of flashbacks, a lot of crying, and a lot of emotional stuff. But as I said, Kodachi, every single chapter, we knew we were getting something significant. Maybe some crazy information about how the God Tree actually came to be. Maybe some crazy information about how the Otsutsuki clan actually has the Karma Seal to reborn themselves. Or may it just be an extremely insane fight. Naruto versus Delta, Naruto and Sasuke versus Jigen. Of course, Kashin Koji versus Jigen, Kashin Koji versus Ichigo Zuki, a whole bunch of things like that. Every single chapter, we got to see some bangers. Masashi Kishimoto taking over, possibly dims that a little bit. And of course, a lot of people are going to probably like that change, mainly because a lot of people do want to see a lot of the plot progression and character development in between all the crazy stuff that we did get from Kodachi. But again, that right there is going to definitely be a noticeable change that I'm pretty sure we're probably going to get to see from the jump. I really hope that Masashi Kishimoto is going to take control of the Boruto anime. From what we have seen and from what was actually reported, Masashi Kishimoto will be taking over the Boruto manga and the storyboard. It didn't really say a lot about the Boruto anime, and of course, because of that, some people were kind of disappointed, but there is still a very good possibility that Masashi Kishimoto might actually retool the staff that is actually handling the Boruto anime. And one of the things that I really did love about Naruto Shippuden was the overall style and feel of the anime. Boruto's feel was completely different. Of course, Boruto's feel got a little bit more serious because of the appearance of the Kata actuation arc, and I really like that. It mimicked a lot more of what Naruto Shippuden used to feel like. If we can get a Kishimoto team in there, it will probably be a more consistent change. Another good thing about Kishimoto taking over is probably the artwork might actually do a little bit better. Now, of course, I'm pretty sure Masashi Kishimoto is probably not going to be penning a lot of the artwork in the Boruto manga, but because he's looking over, he might actually see a lot of the things that were going wrong in the Boruto manga previously. Now, of course, Masashi Kishimoto was still always keeping a close eye on the Boruto series, but of course, now that he's actually going to be the one spearheading all the storyboards, he might be a little bit more strict in terms of the artwork. Now, it hasn't really been any secret for the people who don't really read other mangas, and me personally, I don't really read other mangas as well, but when you look at other mangas and how their art style is, it's absolutely insane. Then you look at how Boruto's art style is, it hasn't necessarily been up to par. Now, I do want to point out the recent chapters, of course, because Naruto and Sasuke fighting against Ichiko Suzuki, and of course Boruto is there as well. The art style is definitely picked up, but in terms of other mangas like My Hero Academia, like One Piece, it just pales in comparison. And of course, even just like Naruto Shippuden, I think Masashi Kishimoto's art was just absolutely insane as well. So of course, I think the Boruto art can potentially pick up a little bit more. Now, of course, there is some concerns about Masashi Kishimoto taking over. I did kind of voice this a little bit on my Twitter. The first thing is going to be Masashi Kishimoto's legacy. If you guys know, Masashi Kishimoto in the anime community is viewed as like a legend. Now, I feel like this right here is the problem with Masashi Kishimoto taking over at this particular point. As I said, Kodachi was writing complete fire. Like, his ink was absolutely lava at this particular point. If Masashi Kishimoto takes over and the writing and the storytelling dips off just a little bit, it's probably going to hurt Masashi Kishimoto's legacy. And I don't really think that's fair to Masashi Kishimoto, mainly because he's literally just getting back into the series. But just in terms of storytelling, a lot of people might actually start saying that, hey, Kodachi was a better Boruto writer than Masashi Kishimoto. And of course, that wouldn't necessarily look good for Masashi Kishimoto's legacy overall. And of course, there could also be some questions about if Masashi Kishimoto is actually doing this for the right reasons. If you guys do recall, as I said, Masashi Kishimoto started a manga project called Samurai 8, which didn't necessarily do too well. A lot of people, in fact, said it flopped. A lot of people clowned Kishimoto for taking an L. Now, Masashi Kishimoto, in any way, like, it's just taking over the Boruto series because he wants the glitz, the glam, and of course, the series of Boruto is doing well in terms of a revenue standpoint. It really wouldn't necessarily feel right to me, and of course to anybody else, and of course that could possibly affect how he's writing the series. If Masashi Kishimoto is not 100% invested into the story of Boruto, I think it could potentially be a problem. Now, off the Kishimoto standpoint, I'm really sad for Kodachi. I really hope that Kodachi could potentially like take over the anime or something like that. I just really hope that he's not completely fired. I know that's probably a long shot, mainly because Organic Dinosaur did actually tweet out that Kodachi was in some sort of scandal, so I really don't think that they'll put him in charge of the anime until that's actually resolved. But regardless, I feel like Kodachi really showed a lot of potential for a new writer to take over a series like this. All the pressure was on him, and of course he completely delivered. He definitely delivered, almost above and beyond. Like, when we talk about a lot of stuff that he did right, as I said, just legendary content. Of course, I definitely would not be mad at all if he were to actually take over the Boruto anime, not only because of the fact that everybody knows the Boruto anime hasn't necessarily lived up to the standards of the Naruto anime, but also because Kodachi wrote the things that are supposed to be adapted in the Boruto anime. If Kodachi is actually overseeing the anime and writing the storyboard to the anime, he can basically translate it exactly how he wanted to be translated, and of course shown how he wanted it to be shown. And I think that would definitely be very good for the Boruto anime. But let me know what you guys think about this change in the comment section below, and give me your opinions, man. Do you guys think that this is a good thing, or do you guys think this is a bad thing? It's me, your boy Baara B, and we out.
It's a knife.